Hi, everyone. My name is John Cottrell, and this is Soft Flow. This is a 60-minute gentle yoga practice that I will guide you through. And in this practice, we like to use several props. And I like to use props in this class because we're mainly thinking about taking care of ourselves in this slow flow posturing class. So we're going to be using a blanket. There's something soft that you can use for kneeling, for your knees, to protect your knees and protect your hands and your wrists. So a blanket is always nice. And it's also nice to sit on too. And you may also want to have a couple of blocks too, or if you don't have yoga blocks like these, you can use something that has some height to it, like a couple of thick books like dictionaries. That can help. And maybe a big pillow. This is just a yoga bolster. You can even use a big cushion or pillow from your couch. And this is always nice for your Shavasana practice, just something that you can use to elevate your legs or elevate your upper body, but again, something soft for your body. And we may not necessarily need it for this practice today, but we have a yoga strap. And the yoga strap we might be using for some of our postures. So let's go ahead and begin our practice. And I invite you to find a comfortable seat, just sitting up nice and tall, and feel free to cross your legs. I feel comfortable in a cross-legged position, but if this isn't comfortable for you, feel free to extend your legs or even sit up on a bolster or even a chair or up against a wall so you feel a bit more comfortable. And we like to start with breath. And as we start to tune into our breathing, I'll also talk about our intention for our practice today. So feel free to close your eyes or just soften your eyes. Maybe take a few deep breaths in and out to help settle into the space. Just bring in your body and your mind to this moment. Remember, this is a soft flow practice, a gentle yoga practice. We take our time, we move slowly through our poses. There's really no need to move quickly, to go too fast or rush. We certainly don't need to push or force our bodies into any poses that we do. What we like to do is establish a sense of calm and ease, and we do that here while sitting in stillness, listening to the sound of the breath and feeling the breath move through you. And we like to carry this whole sensation throughout the practice. Yes, we do go deep into our poses, but we take our time. We don't rush. We don't force. We don't push. And we're really living and practicing by the yoga ethical principle called Ahimsa. Ahimsa, which means nonviolence. And so again, we're taking care of ourselves, being loving and kind and gentle to ourselves. And we get to practice that here on the yoga mat. So just continue your slow, deep breathing, still noticing the sensation of breath as it moves through your body, listening to the sound of the breath. And I've simply named this practice triangles, diamonds, and pyramids. And basically, we're just going to be moving through some yoga poses that will feature those significant shapes. And as we move into those postures, you can kind of feel what those shapes feel like in your own body. As you're breathing in, just feel the breath rising to fill up your lungs, that nice expansiveness up top. And as you exhale, draw your navel inward towards your spine, that nice engaged feeling in your core. Again, as you breathe in slowly and deeply. Feel that expansiveness in your lungs. And as you exhale, we're contracting the abdominal muscles, not too strongly, but just an awareness of the center of your body. With this breathing sensation and awareness of the physicality of what's happening in the body, we become a little bit more in tune and connected. Again, just feeling the breath rise. You might even feel the lengthening in your spine, sitting up a little taller. And your exhale connecting to your core center. We call this the abdominal lock. So again, it's that light contraction of your abdominal muscles. Let's take 3 more breaths like this while we hold here in stillness. After that third breath, we'll add movement, a very simple movement, which I just call our moving meditation. So whenever you're ready, go ahead and inhale and extend your arms out across the room with good effort. Reach out, reach all the way up as if you're going to touch the ceiling. Then as you exhale, extend your arms out, reaching as if you're going to touch the walls. Exhaling and just bringing the arms back down by your side. And that's 1 round of breath. Go ahead and do another. And inhale to extend your arms out, reaching with some effort, reaching all the way up. Treat it like a nice stretch here at the top. Then your exhale. Again, don't forget to draw your belly in towards spine to engage your abdominal lock as you float your arms back down by your side. Go ahead and continue to breathe and move at your own pace. The same simple movement of the body, reaching upward, energy through the hands and fingers, and just bringing your arms back down by your side. And since you're moving in slow motion, just following the pace of your slow breath, pay attention to what's happening in the body. The energy in your arms, hands, and fingers, reaching right through your fingertips towards the ceiling or the walls. Feel the lengthening through the sides of your body as you reach up into the air. Notice the movement in your shoulders, which is allowing your arms to move up and down. Be aware of your breath. Again, as you're breathing in and lifting your arms up into the air, you're still filling up your lungs. And as you bring the arms down with your exhale, connect to your center, draw navel inward towards your spine. Go ahead and finish the breath that you're on and take 1 more breath in and out. And when you're complete, you can just let your arms rest by your side or in your lap. Just come back to the awareness of your own breath. From here, I invite you to bring your hands behind you. You're just going to gently lean back into your hands or your fingertips if you happen to be sitting up on something like a bolster or a blanket. And as the arms are behind you, also feel the shoulders draw back. Now, you might need to pull the shoulders back, but very carefully, so that you can feel like your chest is proud and moving forward in front of your shoulders. You're going to tip your chin up a little bit. Now, you'll inhale, press into the ground with your hands and fingertips, and feel the breath rise, once again filling up your lungs. And because your shoulders are drawn back, you might feel that expansiveness in the chest, even kind of a stretch sensation across your chest from shoulder to shoulder. As you exhale, continue to draw navel inward towards your spine. Inhale, press into the ground, feel the energy in your arms, breath rising to fill up your lungs. As you exhale, draw belly in, and you might even squeeze your shoulder blades together behind you, or just continue to feel your shoulders draw back. We're adding more sensation, or just perhaps be aware of more sensation in your body in this mild seated back bend. Couple more breaths here. And after your second breath, just lower your chin to look forward. Walk your hands towards yourself. Even just rest your hands in your lap for a moment. Then inhale, extend your arms into the air once again. A nice stretch, reach high, feel that lengthening through the sides of your body. Feel as if you might even lift right up off the ground. Exhale, extend your arms out and back down by your side. That was just a nice, helpful realignment of the spine. Hold in stillness for a moment. So since this was a back bend, leaning back, we're going to take a forward fold. And actually, we're going to take our first shape, which is a diamond shape. So you're going to uncross the legs if they're crossed and place the soles of your feet together. You might even send the feet forward slightly And this is what's going to create that diamond shape in the legs. And what you may want to do, if you'd like, if the knees don't touch the ground, because they certainly don't have to touch the ground, you could use a couple of pillows or a couple of blocks like this and just tuck them underneath your legs. So your legs can literally just rest right here. So they don't feel like they're just hanging in space, but they're actually resting nicely on your props. And because you send the feet forward, you can certainly bring them in a little bit, but I like to keep the feet forward a little bit, especially if you have delicate knees. This takes some of that pull away from the knees, and your legs perhaps are more at a 90-degree angle right here. And then you might just hold on to your shins, maybe your ankles, but maybe your shins. You'll inhale just to sit up nice and tall. Exhale, draw belly in and start to hinge forward just a little bit, leading with your heart and your chin, just a tiny bit, not much at all. And as I mentioned earlier, as we move into our poses, we take our time, we go slowly, we're not forcing or pushing. So we're just going to take these very minute movements. Again, an inhale to feel more extension through the spine, feel tall. As you exhale, lead with your heart and chin as you hinge forward a little bit more. And start to notice these subtle changes in your body as you're beginning to fold forward. Now, at first, you might not feel too much at all, but that's okay. As you continue to go forward and downward, more sensation arises. And what's nice about this is that your body doesn't become alarmed by the movement. Because you're moving slowly and taking your time, we can keep this calm and ease throughout the mind and body. And you might even find, because we're taking our time with this, that you can go a little deeper into a pose like this. So as you're going lower, if that feels okay for you, it's okay if your head lowers, it's okay if your back rounds, your hands might even come down to the ground for a little bit more stability as you brace yourself. We're just going to hold here for a little while longer as we've made our first diamond shape with our legs and feet. And again, while you're here, just noticing the sensations that arise. This awareness also just keeps us very present and in the moment. Breathing certainly keeps us in the moment. We'll take about 3 more slow, deep breaths here. And as you're taking these final breaths in this posture, once again, just notice how this all feels. And just as we went into the pose slowly, we're going to do the same to come out. Take your time. You might start by lifting your head and just looking out in front of you. Use your hands on your mat to help press and slowly rise. Even if your back is still rounded, that's okay. And just come up until you can feel tall in your own seat. Hold for a moment in stillness and just take a breath. All right, if you're using props, let's just set those to the side. We're going to come around or swing the legs around so we can come to our hands and knees. And I mentioned maybe using something soft underneath you like a blanket that will protect your hands and knees, especially if your wrists are a little tight or sore, or if you have sensitive knees, you have something soft to kneel on right here. So you'll be in this little tabletop posture. We're going to move into 2 poses, cat pose and cow pose, that we flow together to create cat and cow pose. So we're going to inhale, lift your head and heart, arching the back a little bit. It doesn't have to be much. It's a little back bend. Then exhale to round it all out. And I'll describe what's happening here. So we'll inhale, just going to tip your head up or look forward. Let your back arch a little bit. Your belly will drop. Pelvis will tip back. And as you exhale, tuck your pelvis underneath. Pull your belly button up towards your spine as a rounding in your back, and your chin will tuck in towards your chest. Inhale, look up or forward, arching the back. This is cow pose. Exhale, rounding it all out. And again, notice we're taking our time, just flowing gently with the breath in and out and throughout the pose. I like this movement because it's simple enough, but we get a lot happening here. There's a nice undulation of the spine, which loosens up the whole back. The tucking or the rocking sensation of the pelvis actually releases the pelvis if it happens to be tight, especially in your low back area. And even though your arms aren't moving, it opens up the shoulders because your torso is in motion. Let's finish the breath that you're on and take 2 more. And when you're complete, just finish in a tabletop position. Just hold here in stillness for a moment. That's just a nice reminder to return to your own breath. Let's transition now. If you're using some padding, let's crawl off the blanket and just set it to the side. You can always come back to that if you need it again. And then come back to hands and knees. We'll set up for downward facing dog. To set up, we're going to step the hands forward so your hands are no longer underneath your shoulders. Spread out your fingers pretty wide so there's kind of a stretch quality between each finger. Even lean into the hands or push your palms flat into your mat. So your palms are flat. There's a nice straightness in the arms. Hold that sensation. Then tuck your toes. Inhale for cow pose. Look up or forward, a little arch in the back. Exhale into cat pose. Hold cat pose for a moment. And with that sensation, lift your knees off of your mat and then lift your hips up into the air. And this should guide you naturally into downward facing dog. Take a moment if you need to adjust your feet and even your hands on your mat. And this is our next shape. Downward facing dog is a nice triangle shape. All right, we're going to move right away. Look at the space between your hands. You're going to take a walk right up to the top of the mat or just to a place where you feel like your feet are flat on your mat. You'll end up in a deep forward fold with a good knee bend. From here, you'll inhale, slide your hands up the legs, perhaps to your knees or thighs, so you can extend your spine so it's flat like a table. We're going to exhale and fold just partially, just a little bit where your hands are maybe just below your knees at your shins. You can keep a good bend in the knees right here. Make sure your spine is nice and long. There's an energy of your hips moving towards the wall behind you while the crown of your head is moving forward. So even though you can't see yourself, just imagine that you're flat like a tabletop. From here, just shift your weight back into your heels a little bit. Bend your knees, let your hips drop like you're trying to find a chair underneath you. Look forward or look up slightly. This should allow you to take your arms out to the side. Use those as wings to help you stand up. Reach up into the air, so a nice stretch at the top, touching the ceiling. And exhale, bring your arms down by your side. We're going to hold here for just a few seconds. Maybe turn your palms forward so it keeps the shoulders rolled back, opened chest, nice lengthened spine. We're going to go through that same sequence again, just that half salute. Basically, we're going to fold forward and come right back up. Here we go. Inhale, reach into the air. Big stretch. Imagine you're going to touch the ceiling. Exhale, spread your wings. Bring them out to the side as you begin to hinge at the hips. Fold forward with a good bend in your knees. Bend them a lot if you need to. Coming down, you might touch your toes, but you don't have to touch your toes. Your back might even round right here. Inhale, slide your hands up to your knees or thighs, extending your spine. Feel like your crown or the top of your head is moving forward. Exhale, folding partially, hands stopping at the shins. We're still forming this long tabletop position. Feel your tailbone push straight back, crown forward. And again, imagine you're perfectly parallel to the ground. Now remember this sensation because we'll be using this similar sensation in a different pose that's coming later in our practice. Now shift your weight back into your heels, bend your knees, let your hips drop, look forward, take your arms out to the side, and with a full breath in, standing up, straighten your legs, reach up into the air, take that stretch, reach high, exhale, bring your arms back down by your side, and turn your palms forward, mountain pose. Take several breaths here. Very nice, good, just nice posturing in the whole body. Deep breaths in and out. We're going to go ahead and add on to our sun salutation. I'll break it down as we go together. Here we go. Inhale, reach into the air. Another big stretch. Exhale, spread your wings, bend your knees, hinge at the hips, and start to fold carefully. Go as slowly as you need to. Take your time. Maybe your hands touch your ankles. Inhale, slide your hands back up to your knees or thighs, extending your spine. Now on this exhale, we're going to fold all the way down. Bend your knees as much as you need to so you can place your palms on the mat in front of your feet. Your back will be very rounded here. Put weight into your hands and start stepping the feet back to the back end of your mat until we're in plank pose or a high push-up position. We're going to hold here for a moment. If you need to, you can always bring your knees to the ground. From here, we'll bend the knees a little bit and then send your hips up into the air. Let's return to that triangle pose again, our downward facing dog, or even the shape of a pyramid. Hips are nice and high in this posture. To get them nice and high, make sure there's a good bend in your knees and even lift your hips up into the air. Be sure your hands are pressing firmly into your mat with the fingers spread out. Okay, we're going to inhale and extend the right leg up into the air. So lift your right foot and extend it back. Reach back. As you exhale, bend your right knee. Bring your right knee in underneath you towards your chest as you shift your body weight forward. Your shoulders will end up over your wrists. Set the right foot down anywhere on your mat. You might need to set your left knee on the mat because you're going to reach back, literally pick up your right foot and place it at the top of the mat. So we're going to end up in a nice lunge. Pick up that left knee. And we need to shift the weight back because there's a lot of weight in our hands. We need to pull the hips back towards the back end of the mat. This may allow you to rise up to your fingertips, which is what we want because we want to extend the spine as much as possible. We're breaking this down. Feel your left heel try to press into the ground. I call that an anchoring. From there, bring your hands, both hands up to your thigh. Push into your thigh in order to lift your upper body to about 45 degrees like this. We're at an angled position. We're keeping that that anchored effect with that left heel. Long, straight spine. We're also going to strengthen the legs here by squeezing the inner thighs towards each other. Feel the legs get very strong. Now, reach out with the arms and reach up into the air with the arms until we're in this high lunge. Now, this is a balancing position because you're on your toes behind you. And so it's okay if you kind of waver a little bit or even lose your balance. That's okay. We're going to inhale, reach high. Exhale, turn that back heel so the whole foot's on the ground. You'll turn sideways and then bring your arms down to parallel. This is Warrior Two. Be sure your right knee and your toes are pointing directly forward. So we have nice alignment there, but also a nice effective hip opener. Let's reach out over the right leg. Reach forward as if you're going to reach out to get something. Rotate the arms. Bring your right arm down to the inner leg while your left hand reaches into the air. That's it. You don't have to go down too low at all for this. You want to feel what I call a sideways pose. You're really opened up sideways. Even feel like your whole back body, even the back of your head, is leaning back up against a wall. We're going to breathe in right here. We're going to exhale and slowly turn towards the ground. Fold slowly. Catch yourself with your hands or fingertips. Rise up onto your tiptoes behind you. We're going to be in this runner's lunge. Pull a bit more weight into the hands. Lift your hips up into the air so you can slide or step this right foot back so we have returned to plank pose. Hold. I like to call this our strength move. Then bend your knees a little bit. Send your hips into the air, downward facing dog. Make the adjustments with your feet and your hands. From here, we'll inhale to lift the left leg, extending it back. Reach back. It doesn't have to lift high, just long and straight and strong. Exhale, bend this left knee. Bring that knee in underneath you towards your chest or forward. Shift your body forward so your shoulders are over your wrists. And then just set your left foot down. Then set the right knee down. Reach back with your left hand and literally pick up your left foot and place it up higher on the mat next to your left hand. Relift the right knee. We're in this lunge. Weight is forward, but this isn't balanced. We need to shift the weight back. Pull your hips back. Your center of gravity is right at your hip bone. You want to rise up to the fingertips in order for you to start to extend the spine. Let's create that anchor with that right heel. You'll feel this in your calf. Bring one hand, then two hands up to your thigh. Push into the thigh, mid-thigh, so you can rise up to 45 degrees. Nicely extended. Make sure you've got that anchored right heel behind you for balance. Let's go ahead and engage inner legs, like you're squeezing or holding onto a block between your knees. Let's extend the arms out to the side. Rise up. You'll end up facing forward. Good energy of the arms reaching up into the air. And if it feels okay, lunge a little deeper. And again, we found what I call the pocket, just sitting right in the center of this pose. We're going to inhale, lift up out of that pocket a little bit. Turn that right foot entirely to the ground. You'll turn sideways, bring your arms down to parallel. And now we're in Warrior Two. Make adjustments if you need to. Even look down at your feet and legs. Be sure your left knee is pointing forward. Reach out with the arms. Look back at the right hand. Be sure it's parallel to the ground. Let's follow the left hand forward out over the left thigh, just to angle the upper half of the body a little bit. Rotate the arms. This left hand might be braced against the left inner thigh. Even push against it. It'll help stabilize you. And then reach high up into the air with the right hand. This is our sideways pose. Nicely open. This is side angle pose. And remember, imagine you're leaning back into a wall, even the back of your head. If your head is dropped forward, if your chin is almost touching your chest, just lean back with your head. Let's inhale right here. Exhale, we'll slowly turn towards the floor. Carefully bend, catch yourself with your hands. Rise up onto your tiptoes behind you. This is our runner's lunge. Push strongly into the ground with your palms. Lift your hips if you can, even if it's a little bit. Slide or step this left foot back into plank pose. Hold for strength. All right, let's go ahead and bring the knees to the ground gently. We're going to sit back briefly in hero. This is hero, just to get off the hands. We're actually just going to take a seat. So slide off the heels onto the mat and swing the legs around to the front, like so. I'm just going to adjust my mat a little bit. All right, let's take staff pose. And basically, all you're doing is just keeping the legs very straight. You might even flex your feet just so the legs stay strong and active. Place your hands on the ground next to your hips. Push into the mat to help extend the spine, so you don't feel like you're slouching. So push into the ground, feel tall, even roll the shoulders back. And if you can, squeeze the shoulder blades together to engage your upper back muscles. We're inhaling to feel the length through the legs and through the torso. And your exhale, pull belly button in towards spine. Hold for a couple more breaths. Again, this is staff pose. And then just relax for a little bit. Okay, we're going to move into another triangle-shaped position. You're going to bend the left knee, bring this left foot to right inner thigh. You can even be lower by your knee or even down by your calf. If it's down by your calf, you can see we're creating another triangle shape right there. But it's okay to bring that foot up to inner thigh if that feels okay on your knee. I need to adjust my seat. And what I'm doing here, I'm basically just pushing my hands into the ground, lifting myself up and just sitting back down. Basically, I'm just getting the bones, that's the sits bones, okay? And the buttocks there exposed enough so they kind of plug into the ground. So I feel a bit more steady here. Now, if you like, you can use a strap. You don't have to use a strap for this, but if you happen to have one, you might wrap it around the right foot out in front of you. You're just going to take a gentle forward fold. And again, you don't have to use a strap. We're just going to inhale and just sit up nice and tall. Exhale, pull belly in and start to hinge forward, leading with your heart and chin out towards this extended leg. And again, you can just use the strap as a way to kind of support the body, manipulate the body as you come forward. Or if you're not using a strap or don't have one handy at the moment, maybe your hands are on the ground like this on either side of your right leg, or even touching your shin. Maybe you can even touch your toes. So we're just taking the gentle forward fold. So maybe you'll feel a nice hamstring stretch in the right leg. I really like this posture because, again, it's simple enough, but so many things are happening. Of course, that hamstring stretch. We're also getting a back stretch, especially if you're folding forward and allowing the back to round. And we also have a hip opener on that left leg since we're creating that triangle shape in the left leg. I'm just going to take 3 more breaths here. If your back is rounded, to help re-extend it, just lift your head or chin and look forward out past your toes. Hands on the mat. If you're using a strap, release the strap, place your palms on the ground, push into the ground to help lift yourself up until you're nice and tall in your seat. And maybe take the hands behind you, lean back into your hands so we can lift this left knee so it's pointing towards the ceiling. You're going to bend the right knee. You're just going to adjust the feet a little bit so you've stepped them forward. So again, we're creating another little triangle shape right here, okay? We're just going to take a variation of boat pose, which I really like to do in this class. So we're going to hold on to the backs of the legs, just underneath the knees. Lift yourself up until you're straight in the spine. That's it. Inhale for that lift and length. Exhale, engage your belly, and then just lean back a little bit or more if you want. So this is our variation of boat pose, which strengthens your whole core system, especially in the abs. If you're not really feeling this quite yet, feel free to lean back a little bit more. Make sure the chin hasn't tucked in too tightly to the neck or chest. You want to lift the chin so you have a nice long neck. So breathing, your breath can really flow easily through the neck area, especially if you're leaning back at this angle. 2 more breaths. And with your hands still holding onto the leg, maybe pull yourself up so you're nice and tall. Let's extend both legs for a moment. Coming back quickly to staff pose, hands on the ground by your hips. Push into the ground to extend spine, just for a breath or 2. Just a nice realignment of the body. And then you can relax and we'll get it set up for the other side. So bend the right knee so you can bring right foot to left inner thigh, or at the knee area, or down by your calf, creating our triangle shape there. I'm going to do my adjustment of lifting and then sitting back down so the sits bones or the sitting bones can sit plugged into the ground. I'm going to bring my foot into inner thigh. Now let's say this right knee doesn't touch the ground. Again, it doesn't have to. Once again, maybe use your stacked blocks or a big pillow on that side over there so it rests. If you're using a strap, go ahead and wrap the strap around the bottom of the foot. We're going to inhale and sit up nice and tall. If you're using the strap, tugging the strap will help you to sit up tall. Exhale, pull belly in, tug the strap to help send the heart forward. Just a little bit. Maybe this is as far as you want to go, because maybe you don't have to go down all the way. There's certainly no need to go all the way down. Once again, we're taking a very slow progression. So we're not harming the body. We're not going too fast so that the body can get used to these new sensations that are perhaps arising. We get a nice benefit from that. And here, again, we've got the hamstring stretch of the left leg, the hip opener on the right leg. And if your back happened to have rounded, we're getting a nice stretch through the back body. Let's take 3 more breaths here. Notice the sensations in the body. After that 3rd breath, we're going to come out of the pose. If you're using the strap, we'll go ahead and remove the strap right away. Just set it to the side. Place your hands on your mat for stability. Lift your head to look forward. Press hands into the mat to help guide yourself back up until you're nice and tall in your seat for a moment. Then take your hands behind you, lean back. Let's do that boat pose again. Let's bring the right knee up. Let's bend the left knee and adjust the legs here so we've got our little triangle shape. Let's catch hold underneath the knees. Inhale to sit up tall. Tall as can be. Exhale to pull belly in just to help support the upper body. Yes. And begin to lean back. A little bit goes a long way. You really don't have to go far at all. This is very strengthening. Breath is the key. Tip the chin up a little bit so the neck is nice and long. Take that full breath in. Fill up your lungs. Exhale, pull belly in. Feel that core engagement. And just for a bonus, you don't have to do this. You can even release the legs, reaching out with the hands. You don't have to do this, but you can just give that a try just to add a little bit more engagement to the body. One more breath in and out. Maybe catch the underneath of the knees, pull yourself up to lengthen the spine. And lean to one side so you can just swing the legs back behind you. You're just going to return to your hands and knees. So take your time to come back to your hands and knees. We'll take a couple of breaths here, cat and cow. So inhale, lift head and heart. Arching the back, a little back bend. Exhale, round it all out. You can do that one or two more times. We're going to return to downward facing dog, but first come back to a neutral tabletop position. Step the hands forward a little bit, spread out your fingers, press palms firmly into the ground. Tuck your toes. Inhale, look forward for cow pose. Exhale again into cat pose. Hold cat, pull belly button up towards spine. Lift your knees so you can lift your hips into the air. And here's our downward facing dog. Hold for a moment. I'll return to this triangle shape. Hips nice and high. Look at the space between your hands. Start stepping forward. Take as many steps as you need to until your feet are flat on the ground. Here's your deep forward fold. Once you are steady on 2 feet, inhale, slide your hands up to your knees or thighs. Hold there as you exhale. Remember the nice long spine parallel to the ground. Just briefly, lean back into your heels, bend your knees, let your hips drop, look forward, extend your arms out to the side. Nice, standing up nice and tall. Big stretch here at the top. Exhale, arms down by your side. Palms forward, nice posturing, shoulders rolled back. Let's take tree pose. Tree pose obviously is a balancing posture, but it creates another triangle with the legs, just as we did in that seated position. So you're going to start shifting your weight into your right foot. Press strongly into the ground. Stand nice and tall. Look forward. Exhale, pull belly in to secure your body. Then when you feel set, lift your left foot, bending the knee, flexing the foot for energy. Swing the knee out to the side and just place the foot anywhere on the inside of that standing leg. And here's that triangle shape. You can keep your arms just as they are, or inhale, take the arms up into the air to get some height, lift and length. Exhale, hold for a moment. Focus is forward or slightly downward. We've got balance, we have focus, we have a hip opener. Many of our poses have kind of this multi-dimensional effect. So many things happen all at once. Keep your arms extended. Let's swing that left knee forward. Maybe lift your knee with the flexed foot so it pulls your foot away from the leg, and then step down. Good. Bring your arms back down by your side. Palms forward. Take a breath. When you're ready, start shifting weight into your left foot. Push the foot strongly into the ground so you feel strong and stable. Inhale to get tall and lengthen through your spine. Exhale, pull belly in. Then, yes, float your right foot up, flexing the foot for energy. Maybe your thigh is parallel to the ground. We'll swing the knee out to the side, opens up the hip, placing foot on the inside of your standing leg. There's our triangle shape. Arms can stay down if you'd like, or reach up into the air. Feel tall and lifted and light. Good extension. You're reaching into the air, but there's also reaching into the ground with this left foot. 2 more breaths. Keep the arms as they are. We're going to swing that right knee forward, lifting knee with the flexed foot. Place the foot on the ground, arms come back down by your side. Palms forward, mountain pose. Let's get ready to flow. Always going at your own pace. Take your time. Even if you get a little behind my instruction, that's okay. Inhale, reach into the air, reach, stretch. Exhale, spread your wings, hinge at the hips, bend your knees, fold carefully and slowly. You still don't have to touch your toes. Inhale, slide your hands back up to your knees or thighs. Find that nice long line in the body. Exhale, bend your knees enough to place your palms on your mat. Lean into the hands so you can step both of your feet back or walk your feet back into plank pose. Pause for a moment. Bend your knees a little, send your hips into the air, downward facing dog. Adjust the feet and hands. We're moving right away. Inhale, lifting the right foot, extend the leg back, straight and strong. Exhale, bend the right knee, bring it in underneath you, shifting body weight forward. Maybe your foot makes it up to the right hand. If not, set it down, set the left knee down, pick up the right foot and place the right foot up higher. We're in our lunge, but we need to shift the weight back for balance so we can easily rise to fingertips, then hands to thigh, lifting to extend spine at 45 degrees. Anchor with that left heel. Squeeze legs together for leg strength. Once you have that, extend the arms out and then up into the air for high lunge. Reach and lunge. Just sit down into that pocket. Hold for a couple of breaths. We're going to inhale, lift up out of that pocket. Turn left heel to the floor. You'll turn sideways. Arms come down to parallel. Okay, let's set up for triangle pose. You're going to extend the right leg, straighten the right leg. So this pose is called triangle. We're going to reach out over the right thigh, angled upper body, rotate the arms, right hand down, left hand into the air. Nice opening, good. And it's okay if the hand doesn't reach all the way straight up. It might even be kind of reaching back behind you to the wall behind you. That's fine, just as long as it's reaching for something and it feels extended. There's a lot of extension happening in the body. Straight legs, straight arms, straight spine. Triangle pose. Bend the right knee a whole lot. Lunge. Come back up to warrior two. Reach out through the arms. Place your hands on your hips. Okay, we're going to move into a pose called pyramid pose. So again, straighten the right leg. Straighten the right leg. And then start turning your whole torso, your whole upper body, your pelvis is going to turn too, towards your right foot. Now, as I turn slowly, I notice a natural stop. You probably can't see me in this angle, but my torso is actually facing the left corner of my mat. Because if I turn more, I'm kind of forcing the turn and I'm more of in a twist. So what I'm going to do is actually soften my knees a little bit and actually step my left foot to the left side. Straighten the legs again, and then continue to turn my pelvis. Now I am facing directly forward. My whole upper body and pelvis is facing forward. We're going to inhale, get nice and tall in the torso. Exhale, start to fold out over this right leg. It's still straight. Now, this is the first part of this posture. You can stay just like this, but I'm going to take it to a second transition. This gives us some stability in this pose. This next version is going to take some stability away from the posture. I'm going to bring in my blocks. You can just stay where you are, or you can watch or proceed with me. Okay, so I'm going to bend the right knee, kind of lunge forward. So my hands can be on the floor or on these propped up blocks. I'm going to step forward with the hands, get some weight in this front foot, and actually reposition my left foot. I'm bringing it directly behind the right foot, but there's some space, maybe a block's length. I'm putting a block between the feet like this, and that's probably the distance we want to have. So all 10 toes are pointing directly forward, and my feet are aligned as if I'm standing on a painted line, okay, or a balancing beam. I'm bracing myself and balancing myself on these blocks with the hands, but I'm going to re-engage it. I'm feeling my hips pull back and putting some pressure in that back left heel. I'm trying to extend the spine. Straight legs. This is pyramid pose, or a variation of pyramid pose. Gets into the hips, gets into the legs. There's some balance. There's certainly some core. To come out of the posture, bend the knees a little bit. We're going to step forward with the left foot until we're in a forward fold, just a natural forward fold. I'm going to just keep my blocks up here. We're going to inhale, slide the hands back up to the knees or thighs. Exhale, fold, bend your knees enough to bring your hands to the mat so you can walk both feet back into plank pose. So that's our segment there. So that last couple of postures, we did 2 variations of pyramid pose. Bend the knees here, send your hips into the air, downward facing dog. Let's proceed with the other side. So inhale, extend left leg up, reaching back energetically. Exhale, bend the left knee, bring it in underneath you, shift your body weight forward, maybe left foot lands up by the hand. Once you've got it there, shifting the weight back away from the hands. So you can rise up easily to fingertips initially, hands up to the thigh to lift upper body, feel that nice spinal extension. Anchor the right heel, squeeze legs together, fire up those strong legs. Take the arms out to the side and up into the air. High lunge, reach high, lunge low. Hold for a moment. Keep squeezing the legs together. That can help with balance. Lift up out of the pocket, turn right heel to the floor, turn sideways, arms come down to parallel, warrior 2. We're going to set up for triangle. Straighten the left leg. Reach out over the left leg. Rotate the arms, left hand coming down, right hand up into the air. Remember, it's okay to be up high. In some classes, your left hand might even come all the way down to the ground. But for soft flow, you can keep it way up onto the leg. Now to come out of the posture, you're going to bend the left knee for a good lunge. Let's come back up to warrior 2. Let's place hands on hips. Once you have hands on hips, re-straighten that left leg. Turn your torso towards the left foot. I have the same thing happen for me here. I can't turn completely forward. My hips are at an angle. My torso is facing the right corner of my mat. So I'm going to readjust my right foot. I'm going to soften my knees, step my right foot to the right side, and even forward a little bit. Straighten the legs again, get tall in the torso. Now I can turn, I need to adjust a little bit more. Now I can turn my whole body with the pelvis forward. Inhale, get tall. Exhale, fold out over the straight left leg. This is our first variation of our pyramid pose. So there's kind of a triangle shape with the legs. I think they call this pyramid because it's kind of like a hieroglyphic that might be on a pyramid wall. Now, the second version, if you want to try it, we're going to bend the left knee a whole lot. Release my hips so I can grab these blocks. They can be on the ground or your stacked blocks. Get the weight forward into your hands and left foot so you can pick up the right foot and replace it behind the other. Remember, maybe a block distance between the heel and toes, something like this. And align the feet so that the right foot is directly behind the left, like you're standing on that painted line or a balancing beam. Now engage. I'm pushing into the blocks. My arms are straight and strong. I'm sending weight back towards my right heel. Even feel like my hips are being drawn back to the back edge of the mat. Crown is forward, so I have this tabletop position. Squeeze the inner thighs towards each other. Even feel like the inside edges of your feet are trying to touch the ground. This is the dynamic of the pyramid pose. We're going to soften a little bit, send the weight forward a little bit, so I can bring this right foot up next to the other in a regular forward fold position. And I'm finished with those blocks. Let's take monkey pose. Slide your hands up to your knees or thighs, extending your spine. Exhale, folding enough with bent knees, placing your palms on your mat, and walk both feet back into plank. Hold for a moment to straighten out the spine, strong body. Hold. Here, just bring your knees to the ground. We're going to take another seat, back into hero very briefly, and sit on the ground. We're going to lie down. Okay, so we're coming to the ending sequence of our practice. So have your props nearby that you typically like to use for this final sequence. We're going to start here, just lying on our backs. Bent knees, feet on the ground. And again, maybe we're forming another little triangle shape with the bent knees. Rest for a moment, because those were some pretty dynamic postures that we just came out of. So just feel the ground supporting you. Take a couple of breaths, relax. Our next pose, whenever you're ready, will be bridge pose. It's a back bend, but we're going to take it mildly and supportively. We can even use blocks or a big pillow. So when you're ready, a good exhale to engage your belly so you can have energy in the body to lift your hips up off the ground. Now you can just hold yourself up or place some stacked blocks or books underneath you or a big pillow and sit on it. That way the body can kind of relax in this back bend position. Even though it's mild, that's all it needs to be. It doesn't have to be too dynamic at all. Just settle in. Just notice if you are able to relax. And just focus on your breathing. Let's just take 3 more breaths here. There's certainly no rush to move. If you want to stay here a little longer, feel free. You can even skip the next pose I'm going to teach. You can just stay just like this if you want. But if you're following me, we're going to press feet into the ground, lifting the hips so you can remove your props if they're there, out of the way, and then come back down to the ground. And just stay here, lying on your back, knees bent, feet flat on the ground. You're going to create another triangle shape. You're going to cross your left ankle over right thigh. It kind of creates like the number 4 in a way, but it's a little diamond shape, or sorry, a little triangle shape with this crossed leg. We're doing another hip opener, and just crossing the leg like this might create the hip opener, but if you're not really feeling much, we'll turn this into eye of the needle pose. Basically, all you're going to do is lift the right foot up off the ground, drawing the legs toward yourself. And to support it more, take your left hand, thread that needle, go right through the triangle, hold onto your shin, your right shin or your right hamstring, and then you can kind of guide the legs into the appropriate place that feels right for your left hip opener. Let's take a few breaths here. I like to flex the feet in this position. It just keeps the legs active. It also stabilizes the hips, stabilizes the joints when you flex the feet or just keep the body parts engaged. Just a couple more breaths. We're not holding this too long. I want to give you some time in relaxation. And you might even still be in bridge pose. All right, we're going to set the right foot down, uncross the left leg, plant the feet into the mat. Pause here for a little quick rest. And we'll do the other side. You can cross right ankle over left thigh, maybe even flexing that foot. There's our number 4, our triangle shape. Stay here if this feels just right. Otherwise, eye of the needle pose, lifting the left foot, creating this sensation in the hips. Thread the needle with the right arm right through the triangle. Hold on to the left shin or left hamstring. Even flexing the left foot that's come up off the ground to help stabilize the joints. And maybe some deep breaths. I happen to have pretty tight hips, and so I can really feel this. I don't want to pull too hard, so I don't want to aggravate my hips in this position. I really want the experience of release. I don't want to add any more tension. So some deep breaths can assist with that. Let's take a couple more breaths. You can go ahead and set your left foot back down onto the ground, uncross the leg. Basically coming to our final pose. I'm going to give you some options here. Now you can just go into any relaxing posture using your props for support, or for this final position, you might bring the legs together so the knees and thighs touch, and then just take the knees outward on either side, and as the soles of the feet touch. So basically another hip opener, but it creates another diamond shape with the legs. Now this could be the end pose. You can use a blanket to protect your head or backside. But again, you don't have to hold this posture too long. You can go into a regular Shavasana or any other pose and using your props as a way to support your body. Feel free to hold this reclining cobbler's pose for as long as you like or as short as you'd like. Come out of the posture and change it if you'd like, which I'm going to do. I'm actually going to use my bolster and actually prop my legs over this bolster as I lie in Shavasana. And this feels very relaxing. It feels good on my hips and back. They feel relaxed with just that slight elevation in the legs. Feel free to stay here as long as you need to. Certainly no rush to move, but when it is time to move, start that movement with breath. Just bring more energy and awareness to your breathing. Maybe take 5 slow, deep breaths. And as you're breathing slowly and deeply, just feel movement return to your body. After your 5th breath, you might even roll to either side of your body to a nurturing pose. Pause there for a moment. Still moving in slow motion, you might press to lift yourself up into a seated position. You just want to sit up nice and tall, nice lengthened spine. I just happen to be sitting up on a block just to help my own spinal extension. Your arms can just rest in your lap or down by your side. Take a deep breath or two. And then when you're ready, an inhale to extend your arms out and up into the air, reaching high. As you exhale, bring your palms together and down to your heart. Hold for a moment, take a breath. And as we complete our practice together, we bow, saying, Namaste. Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me in this class. If you liked it, be sure to give us a thumbs up and don't forget to click that subscribe button so you can stay up to date for all of the MBODY yoga practices. Thank you so much.